Welcome back. Now, it's one of the greatest scams in the recent times, and now we're revealing on Times Now that a trail of letters exposing how two governments completely ignored a whistleblower's plea. Letters with Times Now prove how the plea of Chief Vigilance Officer of the Medical Commission of India went unheard by both UPA and NDA. In April, CVO of MCI complained not just of harassment but also drawing attention to the corruption and the rot in the Medical Council of India. But for months, no action was taken, and then the Chief Vigilance Officer HK Jaitley was not even provided protection. On October 10, the Health Ministry approved repatriation of HK Jaitley out of MCI as Chief Vigilance Officer. We've got Prema who's joining us with more details. Prema, instead of really going and protecting the whistleblower, here we are seeing the government enable him get out of MCI.
Well, exactly. If you look at this letter, this was the letter written by HK Jaitley, the CVO of MCI, to the Health Ministry. And in this letter, HK Jaitley has very clearly said that he was being harassed, he was being victimized and traumatized only for fighting against corruption. He goes on to say that in this battle against corruption, he is a lone person and none other than the MCI president is involved in victimizing him. So these are very serious allegations coming up from none other than a vigilance rank officer, the CVO of MCI, and in fact what he has gone on to say in this letter is that therefore my application may be forwarded to Secretary DOPT for repatriation to my parent cadre because I cannot continue in service here, as the atmosphere is not congenial for me to perform without fear, which I feel is the foundation for effective vigilance administration. So very clearly, HK Jaitley is telling us here through this letter that he is being harassed, he is being victimized only for fighting against corruption. So instead of providing him instead of providing him protection, what the Health Minister here has done is he has accepted HK Jaitley's request for repatriation, and the Health Minister has in fact forwarded this to the DOPT. If you see, this is a letter. This is a letter which has been, which has come up from the Health Ministry, and in this letter, it says that HK Jaitley CVO MCI's request for repatriation has been accepted, and then it reads like this: as such, DOPT is requested to forward panel of names for suitable candidates for the post of CVO of MCI to this ministry at the earliest. So not only that the Health Minister has accepted the request of repatriation, but the Health Minister has also sought for new panel of names. Now the question here is, what action did the Health Minister take once the Health Minister got to know that the CVO of MCI was being harassed for fighting against corruption? That is a big question. Right. Why didn't the Health Minister order a probe into all these allegations that was leveled against the MCI regime, against the MCI president by the CVO of MCI? That's the big question. Now, if you see here, the Health Ministry officials themselves knew that HK Jaitley was being harassed. We have a letter.
Prema, in fact, I'll just come back to you in a bit. We've got some more breaking reactions coming in on this story. In fact, a reaction from Health Minister himself. So stay with us.
किस बेसिस पे हुआ है सर मेडिकल काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया के जो सीवीओ हैं उनका
देखिए, उन्होंने 3 बार अप्रैल से लेकर और अक्टूबर तक भारत सरकार को अपने रिपैट्रिएशन के लिए अपने पेरेंट विभाग में राइटिंग के अंदर लिखा है। अप्रैल में लिखा, उसके बाद अगस्त में लिखा, उसके बाद अक्टूबर में लिखा, और उनके 3 बार उनकी अपनी रिक्वेस्ट के ऊपर जो उसका जो प्रोसेस होता है उसके तहत जो है उनकी एप्लीकेशन डीओपीटी को भेज दी गई। इसमें कोई विशेष है। ही हैज बीन थ्रेटन्ड, तो उसके लिए जो पुलिस का तरीका है, पुलिस एक्शन ले, उसके लिए जो कानून की प्रक्रिया है वो उसका एक्शन करेगी। जहां तक हमारा सवाल है, हम तो मेडिकल काउंसिल में रिफॉर्म करने के लिए, मेडिकल काउंसिल की सारी स्ट्रक्चर को बेहतर करने के लिए हमने तो पहले ही दिन आकर प्रोफेसर रंजीत राय चौधरी की अध्यक्षता में कई एक्सपर्ट्स की कमेटी बनाई हुई है जो मेडिकल काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया की पूरी फंक्शनिंग को स्टडी कर रही है, पूरा मेडिकल काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया के 56 के एक्ट को स्टडी कर रही है। और जैसे ही ये प्रोफेसर रंजीत राय चौधरी की कमेटी हमारे को डिटेल्ड रिपोर्ट देगी तो मेडिकल काउंसिल को बेहतर बनाने के लिए जो हमें करना है वो हम करेंगे। कब तक बाकी मेरा ख्याल से उन्होंने काफी काम किया है, 4 महीने में उन्होंने कई सारी मीटिंग्स की हैं। अब ये तो देखो वो बता सकते हैं कि वो कब रिपोर्ट देंगे, लेकिन
पहले एम्स के सीवीओ को हटाया। अब
देखिए अब मेरे जवाब के बाद भी अगर आप ऐसा सवाल पूछोगे तो उसको तो
सफल को लेके कि आपका
उसका वो मेरा विषय नहीं है।
So the World Medical Association has nominated Ketan Desai as the president.
I have nothing to do with that.
I have nothing to do with that. He can go to the police if he needs protection. As far as the health ministry is concerned, Prema, the government is only looking at setting up panels. That's the reaction we got from the health minister on the story.
Well, exactly. There you heard Harshvardhan, the health minister, saying that if the CBO has a problem, he can go to the police. And in fact, the question here is, what did the health minister do after he got this letter from HKJT, who is the CBO of MCI, where HKJT very clearly says that he was being harassed, he was being victimized and traumatized for fighting against corruption. And he's gone on to say that the MCI president has tried to victimize him. And he goes on to say that in this scenario, he cannot continue his work as the CBO of MCI. In the last sentence, he goes on to say that as the atmosphere is not congenial for me to perform without fear, which I feel is a foundation for effective vigilance administration. And then he goes on to request the health ministry for repatriation back to his parent cadre.
When the first alarm was raised in April, but the new government also doesn't seem to be taking any responsibility or any action here. Prema, thanks for joining us with that exclusive story.